Self-driving cars, for example, require a continuous stream of data. The quicker that information is delivered to autonomous vehicles, the better and safer they can run. For many analysts, this is just one example of how 5G could become the connective tissue for the Internet of Things, an industry that's set to grow threefold by 2025, linking and controlling not just robots, but also medical devices, industrial equipment, and agricultural machinery.
It may not happen overnight, but 5G is coming.
인텔리전트 스피드 어시스턴트 ASA라고 불리는 지능형 속도 제어 장치가 유럽에서는 지난 7월부터 장착이 의무화가 되었습니다. 자동차를 기름차라고 부르지 않듯이 전기차는 틀린 말입니다. 5G 커넥팅카라고 불러야 됩니다.
자동차 산업은 대표적인 조립 산업으로 그동안에는 IT 메커니즘보다는 기계적인 부분에 더 많은 포커싱이 이루어져 왔었고요. 그러나 이제 최근 들어서는 자동차의 많은 기술 부분들을 IT로 대체하고 있고 그것으로 인해서 기술의 많은 변화들이 일어나고 있습니다. 그래서 실제적으로 우리가 이런 부분을 얘기할 때 커넥티드 카라는 얘기를 띄우게 되는데요. 그리고 그것들의 안전을 책임질 수 있는 다양한 센서를 결합한 어떤 운전자를 어시스트하는 부분이 이제 아주 초보적인 단계의 커넥티드 카라고 볼 수 있겠고요.
15분 도시의 필수 커넥티드 카는 추적이 가능합니다.
这边是我们给智慧城市、平安城市打造的一整套的系统。然后呢，这里头细节的我们可以看到很多标签，包括人的着装上身和下身的着装。那我们可以识别到3000多种的车型，这个包括到具体品牌。那这样一个产品，它叫视频结构化，它能够很好的把视频中的一些关键信息提取出来。比如说，我今天要找中午11点钟经过这个路口的红色车辆，然后可以很快的把这样一些目标物给检索出来。
차이나의 전자장비들이 전 세계를 장악해가고 있습니다.
BYD, 샤오미 등 중국 기업의 저가 전기차가 국내 진출을 앞두고 있습니다. 가격 대비 높은 성능을 자랑하는 중국 제품들의 시장 침투가 본격화할 경우 국내 업계의 고전이 예상됩니다.
길리 입장에서는 중국 브랜드가 아닌 르노 모델로 한국 시장 진출이 가능해집니다. 특히 중국 제품 규제가 심한 미국 시장에 손쉽게 진입하겠다는 계산도 있을 겁니다.
The global electric vehicle market is heating up, and China wants to dominate.
Increasingly, more and more analysts expect China to be a leader in EV production, partly because it has the largest automobile market in the world, and then it has all these government policies to support consumers to buy EVs.
The Chinese government has invested at least $60 billion to support the EV industry, and it's pushing an ambitious plan to transition to all-electric or hybrid cars by 2035.
삼성은 오디오 회사를 사면서 스마트카 때문이라고 했습니다.
삼성전자와 손을 맞잡은 미국의 전장기업 하만의 최고 경영자가 한국을 방문해 스마트카 시대 1차 부품 공급사가 되겠다는 포부를 밝혔습니다.
삼성전자는 오늘 하만이 독일 AR 헤드업 디스플레이 소프트웨어 전문 기업인 아포스테라를 인수했다고 밝혔습니다.
5G는 모든 차량을 연결할 수가 있습니다.
The advent of 5G could make these real, bringing the faster speeds and greater bandwidth needed for smart traffic systems and truly autonomous vehicles. But it's not the only option for connecting cars. It's up against a more established Wi-Fi-based technology. There's a debate about which is better. The choice is between the existing Wi-Fi standard called DSRC, or Dedicated Short-Range Communications, or CV2X, Cellular Vehicle to Everything, that would eventually use 5G networks. China was first to make a decision favouring cellular technology for its cars. With recent developments in 5G, that could be handing China an early lead. In October, China mandated the use of CV2X and gave it a dedicated band of spectrum. In the US and Europe, the spectrum issue is unresolved and there's a split on which technology to use. If the federal government mandated a technology today, it's estimated up to 8.1 million car crashes and 44,000 deaths could be prevented. So how are the technologies different? Both are designed to connect cars directly to other vehicles and the infrastructure around them. But the cellular tech can also harness a 5G network's wider coverage, greater bandwidth, and crucially, its lower latency.
That 1 millisecond delay of latency in 5G to let your car know that there's a car coming around the corner that you can't see is going to be critically important. Today with 4G, that might be 10 or 20 or 30 milliseconds. It'll be crucially important to the safety levels.
The Wi-Fi based standard also has low latency, and backers like chipmaker NXP argue that it's a better option because the technology is mature and ready for deployment now. But supporters of the cellular tech say it has superior range and is more secure. Byton is a US EV startup that will build its car in China and bring it to market with basic self-driving capabilities.
5G will enable vehicles to talk to different infrastructure. It'll enable vehicles to talk to each other. Autonomous driving can use up to 1.5 terabytes of data per hour. That data needs to come into the vehicle and leave the vehicle.
CV2X can evolve with each new generation of cellular network, starting with 5G. It would be as simple as switching the modem. Critics of the Wi-Fi standard say the technology is outdated and not appropriate for the cars of tomorrow. So which will prevail? 5G CV2X is now backed by a trade group representing more than 100 car manufacturers and chip makers, including Qualcomm.
Vehicles are becoming more and more autonomous, relying upon cameras and sensors. Once we start blending in both 5G and cameras and sensors, we get to see a far more transformative experience.
A European Commission plan for the Wi-Fi based standard was defeated in July, opening the door for a 5G standard supported by Audi and BMW. In the US, the Trump administration has put off making a decision. But Ford isn't waiting for Washington. Currently, General Motors is the only US car maker promoting the older Wi-Fi standard. Bloomberg New Energy Finance says in the long term, the US, Korea and Japan will adopt the cellular option as they aggressively deploy 5G networks.
자율주행 커넥티드 미래 기술 개발을 위해 협력하기로 했습니다. 두 회사는 충남 서산에 있는 현대모비스 주행 시험장에 5G 통신을 개통하고 이를 활용한 커넥티드카 기술 개발에 본격 착수했습니다.
5G 네트워크를 통해서 모든 것을 볼 수 있게 됩니다.